Throughout centuries, the enchanting realm of Ulnith has persisted in a state of anguish and cruelty as a result of the endless war. Even though the demons were undoubtedly superior to humans in every aspect, humanity valiantly resisted until the outcome of the realm hinged on a showdown between two individuals. The supreme demon lord, known as Veltal, alongside mankind's brave hero, Graham. The brave hero takes the initiative by lunging towards Veltal, only to be blocked by the demon and pushed back. Veltal casts a swift flurry of dark magic incantation. Graham effortlessly breaks through Veltal's magical defenses and emerges victorious, despite Veltal's confusion over his defeat, as he believes himself to be stronger than Graham. Graham responded that he emerged victorious because, being mortal beings, they comprehend the preciousness of life. As he begins to fade away, he vows to return soon and spread darkness among humans once more, with Graham assuring to be present to thwart his plans. Lord Veltal makes his triumphant return to the world through reincarnation after 500 years, receiving a warm welcome from his devoted servant, Machina. She explains that 80 years back, a catastrophic incident called Fantajet took place when their realm Alnith merged with a world from another dimension called Earth. In due time, the technologically advanced society of Earth united forces with the magical civilization of Alnith. As soon as Veltal steps outside and takes in the sight of the world beyond, he becomes completely still, overwhelmed by a profound sense of astonishment. He gazes in disbelief as a random man accidentally brushes past him and continues walking without acknowledging the encounter. Upon observing the situation, Veltal chooses to reveal his presence and assert his dominance over the humans. He attempts to cast a spell to dissipate the overcast sky. However, the spell fails to take effect, leading to ridicule from the handful of onlookers who observed the scene. As Veltal hurried away from the scene, a peculiar sensation washed over him, causing him to glimpse a mysterious cloaked figure moving in the opposite direction. Machina gently brings him up to speed on all the latest developments. She describes how, following his passing, the demons and mortals came to a truce that endured until 80 years back when Elnith merged with Earth. As the immortals dispersed, the major industries united and launched a concerted effort to challenge the rule of the demons. Immortality-resistant weapons were manufactured in large quantities and deployed to eradicate demons. Veltal inquires about the whereabouts of the 6 dark peers. Machina mentions that the location of 3 peers is currently unknown, and then inquires about the whereabouts of the 6th peer named Marcus. Machina smoothly transitions the conversation and opts to fetch him a beverage. Veltal gazes around, his attention piqued by a subtle change in the ether surrounding him, which he eventually traces back to a young girl. All of a sudden, the billboards in the square transitioned from their typical advertisements to something a bit cheeky. The ads come back swiftly, prompting Veltal to approach the girl to inquire about her action. He noticed the subtle shifts in the ether surrounding her, surprising her as she hadn't anticipated anyone paying attention while she was hacking, and inquired about the method behind her action. She clarifies that she is an ether hacker, suggesting that this playful trick was a form of activism. She holds a belief that the major corporation IHMI, responsible for the billboard advertisements, excessively limits internet access when it should remain open and free for all. Veltal inquires whether she is acquainted with a person by the name of Marcus. Without delay, she directs her finger towards a towering building in the distance. She informs him that the only Marcus she is familiar with is the CEO of EME, the company that owns the building. He promptly makes his way there and inquires about Marcus at the lobby reception. A second lady steps forward, presenting herself as Marcus's personal secretary. She leads him to the highest level of the skyscraper, where Marcus is seated on a throne, gazing down at Veltal. Veltal invites him to join in rebuilding the immortal kingdom and ruling the world once more, but Marcus chuckles and firmly declines the offer. Veltal is filled with anger and chooses to engage in a fight with the secretary. Gracefully wields her sword, striking at him with precision. Marcus eventually eases himself down. He ridicules Veltal's ambition to dominate the world once he loses his power. Veltal is getting ready to engage in combat with Marcus. Quickly counters his magic by softly chanting the phrase Spellbreaker. Thanks to the company's gadget called Familia, upon activating the projector, an advertisement for Familia is displayed, giving users the ability to select a spell of their choice and activate it through a brief incantation. Veltal attempts to engage him once more in combat, but Marcus skillfully nullifies his spell using Spellbreaker yet again. He proceeds to elucidate that the enchantment processing velocity of Familia exceeds that of Veltal, rendering him too sluggish for the present. Subsequently, he impolitely bids farewell by unleashing several bloodsword spells, forcing Veltal out of the tower. Once Veltal touches the ground, he clumsily emerges onto the street and collides with a group of thugs. However, they also end up assaulting him, and he is left unconscious on a stack of garbage bags. This is where Machina discovers him and desperately attempts to rouse him from unconsciousness. Upon arriving at her house, Veltal feels like she is teasing him, as the room is quite small. Veltal understands the challenges Machina faced after his passing and embraces her to show gratitude for her unwavering loyalty, bringing tears of joy to her eyes. During that evening, Machina had a dream about the time she narrowly escaped being attacked by a group of humans. As she descended towards her demise, she embraced her fate with acceptance. However, her fall was halted abruptly by a mysterious black orb enveloping, which then metamorphosed into Veltal's authentic essence. This was the moment when she encountered Demon Lord Veltal for the first time, and he extended an invitation for her to join him. In the morning, she gently rouses Veltal from his slumber with a generous breakfast spread. He inquires if she is aware of the locations of other immortals. She mentions that several immortals were able to flee during the Immortal Hunt initiative, but she lacks specific knowledge of their current wits. She decides to visit her dear friends, Ornarid and Pomlock, only to discover their house in ruins. The only trace they left behind was a note bearing the mysterious phrase, Immortal Furnace. Makina is concerned that he might gradually fade into obscurity if the situation persists, yet Veltal stays composed and resolves to rediscover his faith. She guides him to a cozy little room to help him choose some new clothing. She politely requests him to stand on the platform for a 3D body scan. Upon completion of the ensemble, Makina deems it unattractive, while Veltal emerges as an enthusiastic admirer, passionately requesting the unappealing tracksuit. Veltal is keen on discovering more about Marcus's intriguing gadget while they enjoy their meal. She elaborates that while its primary function is for magic, it is predominantly utilized by individuals for information gathering. Upon their return, Veltal is struck by the conditions in which Makina resides and decides to actively seek employment. Makina vehemently objects, yet he calmly explains to her that times have evolved and he is no longer the all-knowing demon lord he used to be. She attempts to persuade him by mentioning that she will take on additional work roles. He further mentions that he remains determined in pursuing his ambition of world domination and will eventually achieve it with her by his side. Experiencing a renewed sense of hope after centuries, Makina gracefully kneels down and pledges her loyalty to him once more. Shortly after starting his search for a job, he slumps down in disappointment as he comes to the realization that he is uncertain about the available job opportunities. In that instant, he catches the enticing scent of ramen wafting from a nearby shop, causing his stomach to growl in response. He observes a beggar politely requesting spare change from passersby, and upon reading his sign, he learns that the beggar lost his leg during the war. It dawns on him that he is fortunate to possess the physical capability to work. He stands up and calls out in the middle of the street that he is in need of a job due to his financial situation. A man standing nearby, looking a bit irritated, approaches him and suggests that he carry out the task at the commercial guild. He kindly hands Veltal a resume, asking him to detail his work experience and submit it to the guild. Veltal expresses gratitude for his assistance and heads towards the guild. He confidently displays his resume to an elderly clerk who reads it with bewilderment. Veltal enthusiastically recounts his solo triumph in a battle. The man starts to wonder if he might have erred when mentioning that his most recent job was half a millennium in the past, especially since the company does not hire individuals without connection. Veltal comes back home feeling defeated, his confidence in pieces. He inquires if there is someone in the current world she can turn to for advice, to which she replies affirmatively, mentioning she has a friend. She extends an invitation to a friend for lunch, but upon arrival, it becomes evident that the guest is actually the ether hacker from a previous encounter. She goes by the name Taka and shares that she first encountered Makina on a fan page dedicated to the demon lord. Veltal observes that Taka has a unique familia compared to Machina's and gently reaches out to touch it. Next, Machina directly addresses Veltal's employment status and elaborates on the situation. Taka has proposed the idea of becoming a Twitch streamer. Taka mentions that he would simply appear on screen, engage in some games, or provide any form of entertainment for his audience. She is prepared to offer her old equipment to him to help him get started, but Machina firmly declines her generosity. Taka then mentions that working as an entertainer is a completely acceptable profession. Ultimately, the decision rests with Veltal, who openly acknowledges his lack of options and expresses his willingness to trust Taka.